All right. Hello, everybody. This is Madelyn Wilcox, one of the oncology dietitians here at the American Oncology Network. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen as we're going to be going over our recipe for this session. It is a potato, leek, and white bean soup, but I have a little bit of a curveball. I'm not actually going to make the soup, even though that's the recipe that's posted. I'm going to give you a very abbreviated way to make it in a quarter of the time, which is a lot of times what our patients need is something quick and nourishing, but that still tastes good and tastes like a very nutrient-dense homemade soup. Now, if you've got support people around you that are willing to make a recipe or make this soup, that's wonderful. You can just print it off and hand it to them and get all the nutritional benefits. It does come out to be around like 420 calories and about 15 grams of protein per serving. So definitely something that can be used as a meal, mini meal throughout the day. But then the quick tricks I'll show you we're going to be doing here in the kitchen today are going to be pretty darn comparable. And like I said, for a quarter of the time. So again, thank you for joining me. Let's get started. So like I said, the recipe originally is a potato, leek, and white bean soup. And it's very smooth consistency, not texturized. So it's great for a lot of different patients, maybe some that are having radiation to their oral region, or just mouth sores from different chemo regimens. So very comforting, very silky smooth. I do have when in my sessions with patients, I do encourage them to look at some of the prepared soups that are out there. Not that they are maybe an exact replica, but again, something like what we're going to do today, they're a good starter that we can build upon with our calorie and protein boosters, which you guys have probably heard us talk about all the time. So this is the soup we're going to be using as our base. It's a potato leek, again, creamy soup. But when you look at the ingredients, it's not so high in calories or protein. So there's about 80 calories per cup and about 2 grams of protein. So compared to the recipe that we talked about, that's quite low, and may or may not, be adequate for the goals that you and your dietitian have set apart for or set out for you to try to meet during your treatment. But like I said, with just a few quick changes, we're gonna change that. So I have a soup already open here, and I'm gonna do about a cup's worth. And I like to just kind of measure with my eyes, but I'll pour right in here about, we'll say about a cup of soup. And then for our calorie booster and our protein booster, I'm going to start with some of those white beans. And beans are great. Again, you've probably heard us talk about beans many, many times because one, they can often be better for if we're having taste aversions to maybe more traditional animal proteins like meats and things like that. But two, they're just, great plant-based proteins, which as an oncology patient, we do want to try to include as often as we can. And they blend down really nice and silky and smooth. So I'm going to do about a half a cup of, these are already pre-rinsed white beans. These are actually pinto beans. So I'm just going to put them right into my blender. And as you can see, I'm starting just with kind of room temperature cold things. We'll get to heating this up afterwards, which limits the time that you're smelling, which again can sometimes just be pretty off-putting for patients during their treatment. The next calorie booster I'm going to go through or add to this is going to be some whole milk. Now, this is something that, you can talk with your dietitian. Maybe you do whole milk, or maybe you do something like a full fat coconut milk. Both of these would be fine as you're trying to enhance these soups. They're going to be more, I'd say, favorable than just some of the refrigerated, maybe plant milk alternatives, because both of these pack quite a bit of extra calories, where if you were to look at the back of the label of, let's say, just a regular almond milk, it's very low. It's like 20 calories, 30 calories, give or take, for the plain unsweetened. So in this recipe, I'm going to go for the whole milk just because why not? And I'm going to do about a half a cup. So again, just like the beans, something that's just kind of quick, easy. I'm going to pour it right in. You can see we're we're getting some substance, or some volume here, but not overly, too much. And actually, this is pretty much going to be the cap of all our volume. So probably around 16 ounces, which is a normal bowl of soup. And then lastly, one of our favorite tricks here is topping with olive oil. Now you can do this, at the end when you're bowling it up, if you don't mind seeing a little bit of the olive oil, but just for kind of the consistency, I'm going to add in a tablespoon right now. And the reason that we do this is to add that extra 120, 130 calories that, we don't even really know is there, but for someone who's really needing all that extra energy, will certainly pack a punch. And that's it. So we've got 4 kind of quick things. If I wasn't talking, I'd already be way done and probably heating up my soup already and eating it. But I didn't. So we're making this, and now I'm going to blend. So hold tight. All right, so I wanted to make sure it was really nice and creamy for you. So I did, well, probably what, 20, 25 seconds. And now I have this really nice milk-like soup consistency. Fills up a nice soup bowl. And now you can just stick this in the microwave for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. I would definitely cover it so it's not bubbling up and everything. But really easy way to almost make a, identical soup recipe without having to be standing at the kitchen, the stovetop for hours, smelling maybe the cooking vegetables, peeling potatoes, things like that. And from my calculations, this version, I believe, came out to being almost about 400 calories and about 12 grams of protein. So if you remember the original recipe, which we are sharing with you, still great. It's about 440 calories, so 40 calories more, and 15 grams of protein, where this one is just a little bit shy by, 3 grams of protein and 40 calories, but very similar. So this is our recipe for dishing up nutrition. If you have any questions, you can definitely, reach out to your dietitian. I'll just go through maybe 2 more topics and then let you guys go for today. So we mentioned, calorie boosters, protein boosters can be milks. So coconut milk, full fat coconut milk, whole milk. We mentioned different healthy oils. I used avocado oil in this one, but also using kind of an olive oil would be fine. And again, per tablespoon, these range about 120 to, the avocado oil says 130 calories per tablespoon. And again, you can mix that in while you're cooking or kind of drizzle it over top after. And then we mentioned beans. So I used pinto beans in this recipe. You can also use white, cannellini beans, northern beans. I've got some organic garbanzo beans. I personally don't use these as much because I find that they're a little bit firmer, especially when you're just working with like room temperature canned goods. These ones definitely blend up better, same with the white northern beans. Some other things that maybe are less likely to be thought of as calorie boosters for some would actually be grains. And so I have some grain options here that I wanted to just quickly go through. And also I have some lentils and then some white rice. So for each of these, depending on your ability to prepare and cook for yourself, some of them, like these dried lentils, would require, again, standing at the stove top, boiling, cooking them, getting them ready, as opposed to some of these packaged ones, which are already cooked. You just need to rip them and microwave for about 90 seconds. Same with this little pre-cooked white rice. Either are fine. It really depends on, again, your energy and, your ability to prepare this for yourself. But between all of these, they can average anywhere from, I believe, about 120 calories to, I think the lentils were about 180 calories per quarter cup, which is pretty hearty. So, these don't need to be blended per se, but if you wanted, when you have your soup, sometimes it's nice if you do like a little bit more of a texture to your soup. Heating something like one of these up and putting a little bit on top, so there's just a little bit more going on than silky smooth, which again, whatever works best for you, we definitely want to include. And then last but not least, and this is just because, we got to talk about the greens if we can. A good calorie booster would be kind of taking any type of green that you have. This is kale that I actually have on my counter here. Quickly just ribboned it up, put a little olive oil in it, and put it in the microwave for about 60 seconds to cook it down. Again, avoiding standing at the counter for too long and getting tired. But this could just easily be topped right on top for one, a nice breakup of color. It feels fancy, feels special, but this alone just took that 400 calorie soup recipe and added another 20 calories from the cooked kale and another 120 calories from the oil that we used. So we're now past our original recipe, at least from a caloric standpoint. And we have something that's quick, that's, done in record time. So again, thank you for joining me today for this session. Thank you for joining us for all of our sessions, and we look forward to learning and teaching you at our next Dishing Up Nutrition. Have a great day.